T-minus 10 minutes. T-minus 9 minutes. T-minus 8 minutes. T-minus 7 minutes. T-minus 6 minutes. T-minus 5 minutes. T-minus for minutes. T-minus 3 minutes. minus 2 minutes. T minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Giddy up, everybody. It's the year of the horse beginning today. That's my horse imitation. Whee! It's a big day here on the RP Show. Hope you had a good long weekend. It's episode 1678 of your favorite sports program. Of those, this is one of the biggest, largely because the general manager of the Vegas Golden Knights, Kelly McCrimmon, is going to be with us in hour two, but also because Mitchell Scruffy Blair is our co-host here in hour one. The Olympics, I feel like Scruff Dog is like trying, I'm going to tell you right now, sitting here today, it's like trying to take a sip from a fire hose, man, of trying to keep on top of the results and the scores and all the, How about you? Looks like you just woke up. Is that a fact, Mitch?
Within the last hour, that would be correct, Rod.
Are you getting overwhelmed with Olympics coverage or not?
Not yet. Not yet. I think that CBC and TSN and Sportsnet have done a pretty nice job of the coverage, better than the American coverage. I know you said in your column this week that you're not seeing some of the Canadian coverage because you can't get Gem down there, but I think they do a pretty good job. You get to see the big events as they happen. I saw the speed skating gold medal this morning. Saw Rachel Homan beat Sweden this morning, and now watching Czechia and Denmark. And of course, the winner of that game will play Canada tomorrow in a quarterfinal. So yeah, they're doing a good job of keeping it real for us.
Okay, well, you're doing a far better job of staying on top of it than and I apologize. You got a cowlick sticking up. Is my mom?
I know, I do. I can see that.
It's all good. It's all good.
I know.
I didn't realize.
I know.
Yeah. But you can't fix that. My mom was a hairdresser. You can't. So yeah. It's on me. It's on me, Mitch. You're doing great. And I got to say, listen, quick six show topics. It's the big story. Although it's funny because you can tell who doesn't have Olympics coverage. ESPN's talking NFL, Fox Sports, same thing. Everybody else is into the Olympics, and that includes you and me. So I guess before we get into the hockey, because I'll be honest, it's the number one thing. It's about number 1, 2, 3, and 4 for me. Okay, men's hockey.
Yep.
We'll get into the sniping back and forth, and we know we're on a collision course for Canada, USA. God, I hope so. But you being the curling, yeah. But you being the curling aficionado that you are, and a close friend of Ben Hebert, probably better than I am with Hebert and Team Canada, Brad Jacobs and that crew. Canada got caught cheating. That's the sense that I get.
Didn't. No, they didn't.
You can't touch the rock past the hog line. Is that not the rule?
They didn't touch the rock past the hog line. The video shows that he touches it as it is going across, not past the hog line. And there has been stuff on Twitter which basically says that until the rock has crossed the hog line, you can double touch it. This is, I don't know where Sweden is getting on this. I think the fact that they were 0-3 and Nicholas Edin was one of the top rinks in the world, and they're trying to get under Canada's skin. And it worked. That's the highlight moment of the Olympics for me in the first 10 days, was Mark Kennedy telling that guy to, you know what?
Well, the whole thing is the number one story. And there have been a lot of stories like them running out of condoms in the Olympic Village and the Ukrainian skeleton speed skater being, for political reasons was expelled. There's been a lot of things go on, but the curling skullduggery is number one. And by the way, 902-518-3033 is the text line for Western Dodge, 902-518-3033. Okay, well, I guess fair. We got a lot of things to get to. And for those that are just settling in, if you have any questions for the general manager of the Vegas Golden Knights, Kelly McCrimmon, coming up in hour two, please fire them our way and we will ask him of that. But if they didn't break a rule, Mitch, in the curling, why the hubbub? Why the stink? Why such a big deal?
Because, as I said, I think they were trying to make a point here. And they were looking for something to get under Canada's skin. They succeeded. But I think if you went back and looked at Worlds, Olympics, Briars, Scotties over the past year, you would see this happening all the time. And I'm not sure, Nicholas Edin has played Brad Jacobs many a time, and whether it be Olympics or Grand Slam of curling events or World Championships. I don't know what the record is between those two rinks, but I just wonder maybe if they're looking for some sort of a competitive advantage to get under their skin.
Do you like this?
Said, it worked because you saw the way Mark Kennedy reacted.
Oh, yeah. But do you like it? Because it's not really a curling thing. It's not the way they conduct themselves. I mean, I don't mind.
It's not, but it's funny. Many years ago, I was at an Alberta tankard in Calgary when I was working in Peace River, Alberta, covering two of the Peace Region teams down there. And I was sitting behind the glass and I was watching one of the Peace Region teams play, and all of a sudden I heard this, whoa! One of the guys, and I forget his name, one of the skips, he kept dropping his broom as the other guy was about to throw, the guy from one of the rinks that I was covering. The third from the rink I was covering, his name was Brian Dewar. He grabbed the skip around the throat and said, if you do that again, I'm stuffing that broom up your you-know-what. And it's like, oh my God, we're going to see like a curling fight. It was crazy. It wasn't the level that we saw with Mark Kennedy, but it was crazy.
I guess so when it happens, it's rare, makes it a much bigger deal. Kind of what you're saying, because with hockey and football.
It's like a goalie fight in hockey.
Right, sure, because it's rare. Sure, because guys telling each other to F off, I hear that 10 times a day. Half of it is at me. I mean, I don't really care. So I see it in curling. And all of a sudden it's
sports cages.
Right. That's what made it so great. Rich in Edmonton writes in, he says, the controversy has made curling must-watch TV. They were talking about it on Fox Sports Radio the other day. What world am I living in? What? Rich also says it's really hard to follow the Olympics tournament for us working stiffs. And I agree. I have small thoughts on that when we come back after the break, because I'm listening to NHL radio and I love that that channel is pure hockey, but it's from Sunday night. Nobody's running lives. We all can't keep up with the flow and the fact that they're playing at 6:10 a.m. in the morning, our time East. Like, we just can't. I don't like it, but you and I have been covering Olympics for many, many, many years. It is what it is. And there's stories outside the games that we'll get to, plus the NFL. Oh, I see the football people have checked in. Tyreek Hill is looking for a job. So we've got a lot of things to get to. We'll be right back. Scruffy's with me. Kelly McCrimmon of the Vegas Golden Knights in hour 2. We'll be right back here on the Game Plus Television Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Hold on tight, Moose Jaw. Professional bull riding is back. PBR Canada charges into the Temple Garden Center April 25th. See the toughest riders take on the rankest bulls in a night of non-stop, edgier seat action. Whether you're a diehard fan or brand new to PBR, this is one show you don't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at sastix.ca or at the box office. But don't wait, they'll sell fast. Professional Bull Riding Canada in Moose Jaw.
Proudly presented by Papikassis Developments Limited.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
21-time nominated Grammy Award winner Dwight Yoakam. Live in concert. June 24th, 7 p.m., Temple Garden Center. Dwight Yoakam. On sale now at sastix.ca. Dwight Yoakam Live.
Hour 1 of the RP Show is brought to you in part by Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon, Pump Jack's Cathedral, Pump Jack's Weyburn. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. Kelly McCrimmon, the GM of the Vegas Golden Knights, will be with us in hour 2. Been waiting on that interview a while. Part of our partnership with the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network, where we air across Nevada nightly in prime time. So Kelly coming up in hour 2. Get your questions in for that. But listen, Scruffy's with me. I don't feel like, because the Olympics only go 2 weeks, that we could be Olympicsed out. I'm not. I don't think you are. And we're just getting to the exciting time with the men's hockey and the women's too. Canada, USA will meet in the gold medal final, and the USA is favored. But Mitch, I'm dying to ask you this. We have a lot of questions that come in from the viewers, and I love them. But this is you and me time. You and me, Scruffy. I don't know if you saw the tweet. Some guy said, with Matthew Tkachuk of Team USA lipping off Leon Draisaitl of Team Germany on Sunday, saying, always the bridesmaid, Leon, eh? Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. And obviously drew the ire of Oiler fans, and some guy said all 32 teams, including Florida, would take Draisaitl over Matthew Tkachuk. The Panthers would not. They would not. I don't even need to ask them. Brent from Wellington, Florida, is watching, close friend of mine. He co-hosts the Cats and Bolts podcast with me. He's a Panther season ticket holder. I said, would you take Draisaitl over Chucky with the Panthers? He goes, no. They would not. Your take on that whole trash-talking thing and the Tkachuks and the Bash brothers and where we're going here.
Matthew Tkachuk, every sport needs a heel, like wrestling. And Matthew Tkachuk is the ultimate heel in the NHL and professional hockey. Now, you say that the Florida Panthers wouldn't trade Leon Draisaitl or Matthew Tkachuk for Leon Draisaitl? Well,
nope.
That's fine. I think there are 30 other teams that would. Well, 29, because the Edmonton Oilers already have Leon Draisaitl.
Mm-hmm.
Leon Draisaitl is the top 10 player in the NHL. Matthew Tkachuk is a very good player, but Matthew Tkachuk is probably in that 25 to 40 range. Leon Draisaitl is a 50-goal scorer. Matthew Tkachuk is not. Leon Draisaitl has won a Hart Trophy. Leon Draisaitl is one of the best players in the National Hockey League. Matthew Tkachuk is arguably one of the best players for USA Hockey. So you can take it whatever way you want. And I'd be saying this if I wasn't an Edmonton Oilers fan. I would take Leon Draisaitl over Matthew Tkachuk every day of the week. The only area where Matthew Tkachuk is better than Leon Draisaitl is when it comes to chirping and the physical play. So that's where I go with that. Both good players for various reasons, but I'd take Draisaitl ahead of Tkachuk any day of the week.
You're always good for the hot takes. There's another scruff take. The only time Tkachuk is better than Draisaitl is chirping. I'm writing that down. Because I don't know if you saw our Facebook page, 600 comments and counting on the post that I made last night that said, you're high if you think the Florida Panthers would take Leon Draisaitl over Matthew Tkachuk. And Mitch, you've known me a long time. You're the same. You throw stuff out just to get a ring. You're no different than me. We were trained from the Barry Davies school. Lynch-like conditions out there. But anyways, I had to go in and correct some people, which I don't normally do in the comments. I just said, I'm not saying Tkachuk's a better player than Draisaitl, and I'll say it to you. I'm not saying he's a better player. What I'm saying is the Panthers would rather have Matthew Tkachuk, and I don't even need to ask them, but I will next week when they reconvene. They've won 2 cups with the guy.
What do you think they're going to say when you ask them?
No, they believe it.
Of course
they believe it.
They tell you.
They believe it. They have their stars.
Right,
they've got
but
Tkachuk.
They're not going to say, oh yeah, we'd take Draisaitl any day, because that would create another firestorm. It's like John Schneider this week. John, how do you think the Blue Jays are going to do? Well, of course John Schneider is going to say we expect to get back to the World Series and win this time. What do you think he's going to say? Oh, well, you know what? I think I'll be happy if we win 78 games and finish in 3rd place. Like, that's not going to be said.
Brent in Wellington, Florida writes that he says 2 completely different players. 1,000% a situational trade on a team's needs. Panthers needed Chucky. BW from Edmonton says, I would take Leon over Connor if I were starting an NHL team.
Really?
That's all.
Wow.
That's what he said. That's fine. Hey, this is an opinion thing. And it's like, can we this isn't to you, it's to everybody else. Can we not have fun and debate this? You just said he's a classic chirper. It's old school chirping. Nobody does it anymore. Nobody does it as good as Tkachuk. He doesn't care that he's hated in Edmonton or Germany or wherever. Tampa, they all hate him. He doesn't care.
Hey, I'm going to ask you this
rings.
when it comes to Matthew Tkachuk and Brady.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
We know there's not supposed to be any fighting in the Olympics. Do you think one of those two will drop the gloves against Canada if we see them in the gold medal game? Because I can really see at least Brady dropping the mitts with Tom Wilson. I really can.
I wouldn't have thought that they would fight in the 4 nations, let alone this. And they could fight and they did. I didn't think they would. So do I think so? Oh my God, that's why we got to tune in, okay, so you just brought up the coverage coming out of Milan forget about the television broadcasts. They're great. It's NBC, it's CBC. They're going to be great. There's some reporters there that should have their Twitter accounts taken away, let alone their media. Like, I saw one reporter, she said, there's not going to be any fighting in the hockey because you can't do it. You can't fight at the Olympics. I'm like,
well, you can.
It's like saying nobody's going to rob the bank because it's illegal. You can't speed because it's against the law. No, they're going to fight if they want. And then the fans are saying more intelligent, entertaining things than the reporters are over there on social media in a lot of ways. And some guy said, if they got Tom Wilson on Team Canada just to keep the flies off McDavid and Crosby, then good. The flies being the Tkachuk brothers.
Yep.
If he's there to police them, then it's worth it.
I agree.
So, yeah, and I'll just say one more thing about Tkachuk. Listen, I don't like him. I don't want to, as Chris Jones would say, don't get it twisted. I don't like him running guys from behind. I don't like a lot of the stuff. I don't like Brady. They're tied up. The linesman's in the middle and whack. You're not supposed to do that. Their dad never played that way. I don't get how.
Did.
Was he that dirty?
Yeah, he was. He maybe wasn't as much of a pest as what Brady and Matthew are, but Keith Tkachuk was. You talk to some of the guys like Pronger and those guys, and they'll tell you what Keith Tkachuk was like. He was a dirtbag.
I just feel like these guys are next level. So I just don't want to sit here and say, oh, he's the Florida guy defending Tkachuk, because that's not what I'm doing. I don't like the way that he plays, but he wins. Rob from Windthorst writes in, he says, if Tkachuk was riding shotgun with McDavid, what would his numbers look like? It doesn't even matter what he's got the rings. It doesn't matter what his numbers are. And he's been a 100-point guy twice, Tkachuk. So, I mean, I get it. He is that quintessential. If he's on your team, you love him. If he's not, you hate him. He's not the first. He's not going to be the last, but he's very effective. Nobody can argue that.
He is Brad Marchand 5 years ago.
Yeah, probably. Brent in Wellington says, Scruffy, would you rather be the bride or the bridesmaid? He's just, you get what he's saying.
Oh, I get what he's saying. And you know what? What Matthew Tkachuk said is correct. Because Matthew Tkachuk has a couple of very big victories over Leon Draisaitl. Now, he doesn't have those victories over Connor McDavid. He's got one, but Connor McDavid's got the Four Nations and might have Olympic gold ahead of Matthew. You know, who beat Florida in the Stanley Cup? Was it Colorado or Vegas?
Vegas.
So Mark Stone has something over Matthew Tkachuk. He's got a couple of things. Shea Theodore does.
Well,
what Matthew Tkachuk said wasn't wrong. And it was a great chirp because that's Matthew Tkachuk.
Well,
but really,
again,
Roddy, wasting it against Germany? Come on.
Well, when's he going to see Leon again? He's got an never-ending fountain of chirps, okay? Yeah. It's just guys don't really do it anymore like they used to. Plus, now there's all the mics down at the ice level, so you capture this stuff, which I don't like, but you get stuff like this. And that's, again, do you? Well, it got Tim Peel fired. I know, but it got Tim Peel fired. You know, like I could do without it because I know what's said down there. I don't need to see it in a meme, you know, or on television. Terry, the lawyer from Calgary, writes in, he goes, somewhere, sometime, Draisaitl will get even. Probably, but we're all waiting. And that's what I said last week. I think you were on with me when I said everybody should be nervous with the degree that Matthew Tkachuk is running his mouth as Canadian hockey fans, because he's running his mouth because he thinks USA can win this thing. And the reason I say that was when I was at my peak of running my mouth, it was because I had confidence in my teams. I think I told you that story. Craig Dickinson called me, goes, would you mind not riling up the Edmonton Eskimos and the Stampeders? I said, listen, I'm selling out the stadiums. You just go coach. I think you can win. And they did.
Yep.
Now, but I don't think USA can beat Canada. My God, Mitch, there is a God. We know that. There are hockey gods. They're going to align in the gold medal game, are they not? They have to.
Oh, they have to, Rod. They have to. And I put a question out on Twitter this weekend. If Canada gets to the gold medal game and they win, but it's against another country other than the Americans, does it matter to you? Like, does it lessen the
Might not even watch.
joy? And a lot of them said,
Yeah.
no, it won't. But some of them said, yeah, it will. Because I think we're just waiting for that game, much like we were waiting for the Four Nations final. We want that to happen. And, God, we've got to have it happen. We need Canada and the U.S. to win. But do you think a country, if the U.S. was playing overtime against Sweden or whoever they'll play in the semis, do you think that this nation wouldn't be rooting for Sweden or whoever? Because
especially
they
because
the Americans, but they don't, if you know what I mean.
Of course, well, especially because of Tkachuk, and I've just realized now why the NHL loves Tkachuk so much. He drives headlines, he sells tickets, he sells ratings. Well, that too, whatever. But because he shouldn't get away with the stuff that he does on the ice.
No.
Run in your mouth. Who cares? Sticks and stones. But I mean, the way he runs.
Tkachuk was in Arizona, would the Coyotes still be there?
Say that again. I had it. Say that again.
If Matthew Tkachuk was in Arizona, would the Coyotes still be there?
No, they were. I know what you're saying, but they were leaving no matter what. Austin Matthews was the rebuild plan there, and when the Coyotes lost that lottery and the Leafs got him,
that's fair.
That was the end. Well, and the only reason I know was, as you know, my friends were the owners at the time. That was going to save hockey in Arizona, and when they didn't get that number one over, it was done. A lot of great comments. Oh, real quickly, the poll question is, what's the better hockey tournament, Four Nations face-off or Olympics? To be honest, I voted Four Nations, but I could be convinced out of it. What are you voting?
I'm going to go Olympics just because there's more teams.
Right, but then you get 10-2 games. Well, I don't like watching.
I'd have to go with Four Nations or with Olympics.
I could be talked out of it, but I just remember going into the Four Nations face-off because it was so new. I remember us all going, especially around here, like, what is this thing? All of a sudden, boom, Trump drops a couple bombs in the media, and all of a sudden, the rinks are falling, her fists are flying. It was the greatest thing ever, right?
I saw a documentary on Four Nations over the weekend called Rivals. It was on CBC Gem.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't watched that show, watch it.
I will.
Tremendous.
If I got CBC Gem here. But I watched the new Larry the Cable Guy special twice on Amazon Prime. Get her done. We'll be coming right back after this with Scruffy. 902-518-3030. Can't watch beach volleyball because of his carpal tunnel. We'll be right back here on Game Plus TV.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Hold on tight, Moose Jaw. Professional bull riding is back. PBR Canada charges into the Temple Garden Center April 25th. See the toughest riders take on the rankest bulls in a night of non-stop, edgier seat action. Whether you're a diehard fan or brand new to PBR, this is one show you don't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at sastix.ca or at the box office. But don't wait, they'll sell fast. Professional Bull Riding Canada in Moose Jaw.
Proudly presented by Papikasi's Developments Limited.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results.
At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote your apple, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network. We're back. The Junior Hockey Report, we do it every day for the Mad Greek Eatery in Moose Jaw. The Western Hockey League announced Everett Silvertips defenseman Landon Dupont has been named Player of the Week. Dupont, no relation to Darren, a 16-year-old product of Calgary, registered 8 points and a +7 rating in 4 games as the Tips went 4-0 and a Central Division roadie through Alberta, Dupont's first appearance in his home province. And Seattle Thunderbirds netminder Grayson Malinowski has been named Goalie of the Week. Malinowski, an 18-year-old from Saskatoon, Sask, went 2-0 with a 1.00 goals against average and .960 save percentage in 2 appearances this past week. Junior Hockey Report for the Mad Greek Eatery in Moose Jaw. Whether it's pizza, ribs, or authentic Greek favorites, make it the Mad Greek Eatery tonight, open until 11 p.m. Order online, pick up, or dine in at themadgreekeatery.com. I could talk Olympic men's hockey with you. Yes, what do you got?
I was just going to say, junior hockey, yesterday, the Regina Pats won their 4th game in a row. They beat Swift Current in a shootout 7-6. What a crazy hockey game. Swift Current gets up 3-0 about 6 minutes in. Regina ties it up at 3. Both teams pull their goaltender in the first period. Swift Current goes up 6-3. Regina comes back to tie it up. Schultz and Pugh both scored. What a hockey game it was. It was probably the best game I've seen at the Brandt Center in a couple of years.
One of the viewers here today, well, maybe more than one, but Rob from Windthorst was there. He was giving me live reports from the Brandt Center throughout. By the way, Matt Dubuck is watching in Fort Lauderdale, coach of the Chiefs. He writes in, he says, who's the most famous athlete in Western Canada? Sask, Regina. It's Gordon Howe. Thanks. 902-518-3033 is the text line. I don't know, Mitch. This is what I don't like about football being over, which I told you we're going to get to Tyreek Hill, and we will. There's 18 roads to go down now. NASCAR, golf, Olympics, hockey, baseball. It's a little overwhelming. It's good for this show.
I'm not even getting anywhere close to the NASCAR train, Ronnie.
I had viewers of this show that were up in Daytona Beach for the race this weekend. It's just, it's out of control. But I'm going to save a lot of these viewer comments for once you adjourn. By the way, point 1, Mitch, of the Quick 6 show topics was the Olympics, and we never moved off of it. We never got off of it, which is fine. Point 2 is this. The Miami Dolphins, who hired new head coach Jeff Hafley last month, continued changing on Monday, releasing star receiver Tyreek Hill ending the All-Pros 4-year tenure in Miami. I have the great fortune of being around football people here in South Florida every day, and one of them said to me yesterday, not to Buck, another guy, says the Miami Packers aren't going to put up with a guy like Tyreek Hill. That's the sense here. The GM and the coach came from Green Bay, and these are the Miami Packers, and they're clearing out the bad stuff. What do you think of the move to get rid of Tyreek Hill?
Not surprising. When does Tyreek Hill go back to Kansas City?
Well, they got rid of him once. So I'd be a little surprised if he...
But they need a receiver.
That is also true. But I don't think he's changed. I mean, to be honest, the guy gets in a lot of trouble. I'm shocked that it's been 4 or 5 months since the police were called to his house that we know of, because it makes the media every time that he does. But I guess, assuming he's healthy, which we don't know that he is, he's playing this year, right? Somewhere.
Well,
somebody will find him.
I talk about Kansas City. If the Chiefs can continue to employ Rashee Rice, they can get Tyreek Hill.
Right. Well, I guess let's look at a big picture from a Dolphins fan perspective. If these guys are cleaning up the riffraff, which I'm afraid Tyreek Hill is, and by the way, nobody has any idea who the quarterback's going to be. It's probably not going to be Tua. But is this a step in the right direction, do you think? Shedding talent like they've cleared $56 million in cap space. You can do a lot with that.
They've still got talent. Their Jalen Waddle is still their number one receiver. They've still got some talent there. But they do need a quarterback, and I'm very interested to see what they end up doing with Tua. I'm hearing this morning that Kyler Murray can end up with the New York Jets.
I saw that too. I mean, why not?
That's not going to help the New York Jets.
2 wrongs don't make a right? Is that what you're saying, basically? Hey, I meant to been asking you this for a week, and I keep forgetting.
Yeah.
Tell me about Mike McDonald. I feel like he's somewhat just burst onto the scene because this was his second year as head coach in Seattle, right? What do we need to know about Mike McDonald other than the fact he's the reigning head coach of the Super Bowl champions?
Mike McDonald, Roddy, if you want a description of him in one sentence, he's the defensive version of Sean McVay. He's a defensive guru. He was with Jim Harbaugh in Baltimore as their defensive coordinator. He was
John.
Yes. He was with Jim at Michigan for a year. The guy knows his defense, and obviously you saw that this year. He's, as I said, a lot of people think that, he's like Sirianni, like Ben Johnson, like McVay, but he's the defensive guy. Young coach, under 40, and a guy that knows what he's doing, as evidenced by what happened a week ago Sunday.
You can't tell me that it's not a thing to be able to be parked up there in the Pacific Northwest where not the whole country's paying attention to your business, and you can just go about your job. Because this morning, if you saw the thing about Kyler Murray, I don't know if you've been watching ESPN or not, but rolling across the ticker on ESPN this morning, Cowboys face the most pressure of any team in the NFC. And I'm like, just stop. They face it every year because of the Dallas Cowboys. They put it on themselves. Jerry puts that target on himself because of his mouth. Can we stop? I mean, how is that news? But what I say, ESPN doesn't have the Olympics, so this is what they're talking about.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because I said, obviously with the IOC and their insane video rules, like ESPN can't show highlights. Fox Sports 1 can't show highlights. When you and I were both working in radio, we would get a document from whoever was doing the Olympics saying you can do this, but you can't do that. And I know one radio station that basically flaunted the rules and grabbed NBC video and audio and did that. But yeah, that's just, when you pay that much for the rights. So you'll see on ESPN under the ticker, gold medals or whatever. But yeah, you're not getting those highlights because they
can't
show them. Not in timely fashion. So, yeah.
We're up against it for time. I don't want to get through as much as I can with you. Point three, the quick six, MLB. Vladdy, who we all know who that is, believes the Blue Jays are, quote, very capable. After their heartbreaking loss in the World Series last year, the first baseman says he believes this season will actually be more fun. Vladdy signed a 14-year, $500 million U.S. contract extension with the Blue Jays on April 9th of last year. So we're getting the quotes out of spring training now. I'll be honest, because you're not a Jays fan, we've established that. You're a Cubs fan. But because you live in Canada, you can't ignore the Jays coverage. It's all around you. I just feel like they didn't do enough in the offseason. As a matter of fact, they got a B minus. Yeah, like why would we think that it was the bullpen that let them down? And what'd they do for that? I mean, I don't want to poo-poo
They
it.
did not get themselves an established closer. They once again failed to get one of the highest priced free agents, this time Kyle Tucker, much like Ohtani and Soto the last couple of years. They didn't get an established closer, as I said. So you're going to go back to Jeff Hoffman. And have you replaced Bo Bichette? No, you haven't. And say what you will about Bo Bichette and how much of an impact he had in the playoffs when he only played in the World Series. But, you need to have Addison Barger and Ernie Clement and Nathan Lucas and guys like that and George Springer come up with seasons like they had last year. And there's no guarantee that's going to happen. So I don't know if the Blue Jays, a lot of people want to pick them to be back. A lot of teams have made a lot. I really like what the Detroit Tigers have done. And if they can find a way to keep Skubal, which they probably can't, that might be the best team in the American League starting as we approach opening day.
Didn't he go to the mediator and that was sorted out? He's back, right?
No, the arbitrator awarded him like a $32 million contract.
For this year.
So he'll be a free agent going into next year unless the Tigers.
Right, but he's there this year. He's there this year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Mitch. Well, that was fast but fun. I appreciate this. Enjoy the hockey. We'll do it again soon.
We'll talk to you Monday, and hopefully we have a gold medal to talk about.
We'll be right back on Game Plus TV.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote your rebel, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Okay, we're back at it, everybody. It is the RP Show here on the Game Plus TV network. Saying again, coming up in hour 2, the general manager of the Vegas Golden Knights, Kelly McCrimmon, will be with us, part of our partnership with the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. Yeah, it's not a small thing. You don't get NHL GMs on the air every day. No network does. No TV show does. So we're pretty excited about that. Thank you, Kelly. Pride of Plenty, Saskatchewan. By the way, we're brought to you in part by Outlaw Communications, where creativity is a way of life, with Tony Plater and his gang specializing in strategic communications, leadership training, and clear conversational content that motivates your audience. I apologize to those that we didn't get to their messages earlier. See, here's the thing. This is why I say on Wednesdays and certain other days when it's just me in hour 1, that's when you get your questions and comments read the most. I enjoy my chats with Mitchell, so I couldn't get to a lot of what you all had to say. Arlen writes in, Arlen Bruce. He says, with Eric Bieniemy back in Kansas City, he definitely will consider Cheetah. Tyreek Hill. He says, congratulations to Canada on winning gold in women's speed skating. Dun, da, da, da. I don't know. I'll just put it all out there because that's what I do every day with you. I don't know where to go and get the results. Where are you getting your results? I guess everybody's watching their television like it's 1968. I'm sitting there trying to find the scores this morning for the games, the play-in playoff games, which I can't find them anywhere. I know I'm not that bright. We've established that. Germany, France, Switzerland, Italy played at 6:10 a.m. Eastern. I don't know where to go to get the scores. I guess I could watch TV. Have we come around old school? Going to your television to get the information. I would love for there to be a newspaper. We don't have those. Hey, Vancouver Eric is correct on the Tyreek Hill thing, and people have really perked up talking about Cheetah. He goes, Hill is the new Antonio Brown. By the way, has anybody heard from AB? Last I heard, he was sitting in a jail in Miami. Is he still there? I'm guessing that he is. You never know. Okay, Rich in Edmonton says, the Sportsnet website is showing the scores. Rob from Winthor says the Score app has the scores. Under what? I couldn't. If you click on scores, I can't find them on the Score app. I have it. It's still my go-to, and I can't get it on. I'm obviously looking in the wrong place. Okay, hang on. Speaking of all of this, you could also watch the RP Show for your latest Olympic updates. 2 more medals for Canada on day 10 at the Milan Cortina Olympic. Short track speed skater Courtney Sarot of Moncton captured her third of the games, a silver in the women's 1,000-meter event. Later, Megan Oldham of Parry Sound, Ontario. That's the home of Bobby Orr, isn't it? Claimed the country's second gold, winning the women's freestyle ski big air competition. I don't even know what this is. Canada is now up to 11 medals with 2 golds, 4 silver, and 5 bronze. Can we get back to bitching about Matthew Tkachuk and Leon Draisaitl? The Carolina Hurricanes have signed goaltender Brandon Bussi to a 3-year, $5.7 million extension, keeping the one-time waiver pickup in place through the 28-29 season. The Hurricanes announced the deal Monday, the latest chapter in Busey's unlikely rise to prominence for one of the Eastern Conference's top contenders. The rookie is tied for third in the NHL with 23 wins and second with a 2.16 goals against average. Sports update is, as always, for the Ultimate Fan Zone. Riders, Blue Jays, NFL, NHL, you name it, they got it. Rep your team loud and proud with Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store. Shop now at ultimatefanzone.ca. Stop in there, see Billy, tell him you saw us talking about him on the RP show. That would help us out a lot. Okay, Brent here in Florida says he has texted me a link for the scores. Okay, thank you. You would think the guy hosting the sports talk show would not have to rely on the viewers, but he does. Where to get the sports updates? I don't know, like I say, it's like taking a sip from a fire hose. And the other thing is, I don't know. There's this little thing called moderation. I learned it. Thank God I did learn it. So I'm not getting Olympics out. I watched Larry the Cable Guy's new special twice, Saturday night and Sunday. Get her done. I laughed harder the second time. It's one of those shows that you're laughing so hard from the first time, you miss half of it. You got to go back and watch it again. Get her done. Wayne in Victoria, BC writes in. He says, "Hi, Rod. I can hear the exasperation in your voice when you talk about the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones." It's funny because we talk about the Dolphins quite a bit here. I live here, and there's a lot of Doll fans. That's what they call themselves, Doll fans, saying, "Come on over and cheer for Miami." I'm like, why would I do that? Like, well, we have just as much pain, but we don't have the expectations that you guys do in Dallas. I feel like if anything, I would become a Vegas Raiders fan, but I just got an image of the Grim Reaper in my head. Yeah, you don't want to do that. I'll just stay with the Cowboys and get exasperated, as Wayne says. Oh, hey, Kirk in Toronto is watching on Game Plus TV. He writes in, he says, "Hey, Rod, this is Steve Simmons' 40th year as a sports writer for the Toronto Sun. How about that?" I like Steve a lot. There's something I get about that guy, and he seems to get about me. He lives here, just so you know, not that in Pompano Beach, about 12 miles from me. I saw him at the Winter Classic, and it used to be a lot of, "Hey, what are you doing down here? Hey, what are you doing?" And then we both realized, whoa, wait, we have houses here. That's what we're doing here. Steve Simmons is really the last of the Mohicans when it comes to newspaper writers that can just stick it to the teams, because he's been doing it for 40 years. There aren't many guys left like Steve Simmons. His writing is magnifique. As a matter of fact, I saw his tweet about that. He goes, 40 years with the Sun, 38 years writing his Sunday Notes column, which is very, very popular and widely. Steve's a good guy. He's always been good to me. I don't forget that. Rick in Martinsville writes in. He says, "If you put that trade on the table for the Panthers, Draisaitl for Tkachuk, they'd take it every time. If you don't believe that, I have a bridge for sale close to your home." Oh, yeah. Okay, I don't mean to be that guy, but you're sitting up there in Martinsville, just outside Saskatoon, and you're going to tell me how the Florida Panthers feel about Matthew Tkachuk. Got it. Bro, I'm around them every day. Matthew Tkachuk is the heartbeat of the team. End of story. Is Leon Draisaitl the heartbeat of the Edmonton Oilers? No, he's not even the heartbeat of his own team. Stop it. Rick, you're a good guy, and I think you'd like to argue. I vowed that I would not get upset by this, because I started it by putting it on Facebook. I said, you're high if you think the Florida Panthers would take Leon Draisaitl over Matthew Tkachuk, because they wouldn't. This franchise's fortunes changed when they got him in July of 2022. He's got the Cups. Let me guess, Rick, you're an Oilers fan. Okay? I don't necessarily like the way he plays either. I was fit to be tied when he knocked Scheifele out of the playoffs when Winnipeg played Calgary in the bubble. It was horrible. I get it. I don't really, but I get him. I get him because he's highly talented. He doesn't, I don't think, really care what anybody thinks. You all know, nor do I. And I like that. And if his team wasn't that good, he wouldn't be running his mouth. Two-time defending Stanley Cup champions, guys. It's not a debate. Rich in Edmonton writes in, he says, don't be a Raiders fan, Rod. It's miserable. I would only do it because we air there every day. But you know what? I kind of like the Golden Knights synergy. Their general manager's coming on in hour 2. What does Lou Brown say in Major? I'm too old to go diving into lockers. Yeah, we were talking the other day here on this show about I've got a lot of opportunities here in Florida to announce basketball. I'm like, why are you even asking me? I don't know basketball. I've never done basketball. I don't want to do basketball. They just keep asking. It's like the political parties in Canada. It's like, I don't want to get into politics. Stop asking. I'll just stick with the hockey and the football. It's going great. It's going great as it is. Vintage Sasko writes in on the Western Dodge text line, which, by the way, rep the show you love. Shop the Rod Pedersen Show store today at rodpedersen.com. Click on store. You can get yourself a travel mug just like the host has. Vintage Sasko says, hey, Father Rod and Bishop Blair, blessings to all except the Swedish curling team. They can shove it. Signed, Vintage Sasko. I don't know. We live in a time where there's a lot of much ado about nothing. We know that. Is this a time where the curling thing is much ado about nothing? I mean, I still have, maybe that should be a better poll question instead of what's the better hockey tournament, Four Nations face off or Olympics. Is bad publicity better than no publicity? I've gone back and forth on that in my life. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Point being, the talk hosts on Fox Sports Radio the other day were saying, hey, well, we're talking about curling and we never else do. Oh, okay. So Mark Kennedy telling the Swedish skip to F off or whoever it was, and the IOC having to get involved and world curling and all that, all the controversy that's come with this. Is that a good thing? I don't know. Because I know when I was stirring it up like nobody's business back in the day, I was the one getting called into the office all the time. You know, we had all the ratings, we had all the revenue, but somehow that was viewed as a bad thing. So I view it as danger. And we'll continue this after the break. And Golden Knights GM Kelly McCrimmon coming up. Get your questions in. We'll be right back here on Game Plus TV.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results.
At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
position your brand where it belongs guide through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote your rebel, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I could use your help today. It's the RP Show. It's a brand new week. I hope those of you got through the long weekend safely, observed President's Day in the USA safely, Family Day for our Canadian viewers. It was a good one. And we've come in blazing into a brand new week. Very big show here today on the RP Show, episode number 1678 into season 8. Vegas Golden Knights general manager Kelly McCrimmon will be joining us up in about 15 minutes' time as we go to air across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. And as always, welcoming back in for Hour 2 on Game Plus TV across Canada and 33 U.S. states on Game Plus television. Here we go. How can you help me? Here's how. I guess we'll start with the Olympics. We do it every day with the quick 6 show topics. I'm getting a bang out of this. All the networks that don't have Olympic rights, like ESPN, Fox, they're all talking about NFL. And if we had time, we'll get to that. But for everybody else in the world and NBC, it's the Olympics. So where do I start? Early hockey games, play-in games, I'm calling them at the Olympics today. Germany and Leon Draisaitl beating France 5-1. Switzerland over Italy 3-0. As we go to where here, Canada, USA waiting for their opponents in their first round of the playoffs. And Canada's going to meet the USA for gold medal for women's hockey. But all I really want to talk about, if you're just asking me, is Matthew Tkachuk and Team USA and him chirping Leon Draisaitl of Team Germany on Sunday, saying, you're always the bridesmaid, never the bride, eh, Leon? That's got everybody talking. And I didn't mean to start a holy war, but as I was saying, I watched the new Larry the Cable Guy special twice on the weekend. It's a gift. It's a gift. He says about what he does and what I do. I just starting fires like some noob in Canada on Twitter said that the 32 teams in the NHL, including the Florida Panthers, would take Leon Draisaitl over Matthew Tkachuk. I'm like, no, they wouldn't. No. Maybe the team that's got the 2 last cups that beat Edmonton, they would not take. And of course, it's 2026. I need to realize this and stand down and just say, some people like to argue. That's when you really need to walk away. Others will never be convinced, no matter what. I never said that Matthew Tkachuk is a better player than Leon Draisaitl. Their paychecks will tell you that. But what I can tell you is the Panthers would not take Leon Draisaitl over Matthew Tkachuk. He's the heartbeat of the team. It's been a fun debate. And so my point is this Rick in Martinsville, I'm carrying this over from last hour. He says, I'll stand by my previous statement. He says, there's no way the Panthers would turn down a trade for Leon Draisaitl for Matthew Tkachuk. And he goes, but you stand by your man. I'll stand by my previous statement. Sounds like Scruffy and most of your listeners agree with me. No, I don't care what they think. I live here. I see what he means to the organization. We could sit here and go around on that all day. But the other thing is the curling. As I say, when they're talking Olympic curling on Fox Sports Radio, what world are we living in? So, and the host said, hey, we never talk about curling, but there's this big controversy. Canada was accused of cheating. One of the Canadian players told the Swedish player to F off, and I'm like, what? This is a good thing? I don't understand. Those that have been following my career for a long time, I used to love the controversy. I was stirring it up with the size of the canoe paddle, believe me. But I got in a hell of a lot of trouble for that. That's what I don't understand. Is this a good thing? Everybody's chuckling about, I guess everybody's paying attention to curling now at the Olympics. As we discussed an hour ago when Scruffy was here, it's so rare that you've got competitors in curling saying F you to each other. Maybe that's why it stands out as much. Because in the hockey and football world, I'm seeing it 10 times a day, every day. It's nothing to see here or there, But I'll say this is what I don't understand, and I'm asking for your help. Who's right? Is bad publicity better than none is the point. Would the curling people rather be talked about in this vein? You're having to bring in the World Curling Umbrella and the IOC to see if they were cheating or not. Like, it's not good. Not good in any regard that Canada is being accused of these things, because at the last Summer Games in Paris, if you recall, the Canadian men's and women's soccer teams were caught spying on their opposition. The coach is fired. Like, we're getting a reputation. We, as in Canadians, as I am a Canadian and always will be, we're getting a reputation. That should be the bigger thing here. But I say it again, is bad publicity better than none? Or what's right? Because it was been echoing in my mind. Past job, I get called in and read the riot act by my boss. He goes, somebody was upset that you called Graham James a bastard. He is a bastard. No, but you can't be saying that. And if you say, wait, Graham James, he sexually molested one of my closest friends hundreds of times, and you're giving me shit? I've never quite figured that one out. To this day, I still don't understand. Anyways, I'm getting off topic. Canada, USA. We know there's a God. Also know that there's hockey gods. Are they going to align Canada versus USA in the gold medal final of the men's hockey? Oh, they have to. By the way, John Ohm has checked in from Winnipeg. He says, it gives us polite Canadians bad vibes, Rod. We talk about the fighting at the curling? That's why I don't understand. I mean, again, is it good or is it bad? I'd rather just watch the games. And we're sitting here, talking about the Tkachuks, the Bash Brothers, which, by the way, John from Winnipeg, we do have Kelly McCrimmon coming up in the next segment, the general manager of the Vegas Golden Knights. Our number 2 region for viewership remains Manitoba, and specifically Winnipeg. So I got a list of questions here for Kelly when he joins us next. Oh, I should ask all of you, if you have questions for Kelly McCrimmon, please pass them along. The longtime general manager, at times coach of the Brandon Wheat Kings, now with the Vegas Golden Knights. He's coming up in the next segment. So if you have any questions, fire them our way. I guess I'll move along. Many of you saying thank you. Point 2 of the Quick Six show topics. The Miami Dolphins, who hired new head coach Jeff Hafley last month, continued changing on Monday, releasing star receiver Tyreek Hill, ending the All-Pros 4-year tenure in Miami. He is still recovering from a season-ending injury suffered in a game against the Jets in September that required surgery to repair damage to his left knee. Why did I chuckle when I was saying that? Because I was thinking of the Dolphins fans that are trying to recruit me to be a Dolphins fan, and I won't say it's never going to happen. Never's a long time, but as I said, if I change teams from being a Dallas Cowboys fan, it wouldn't be the Dolphins. They got more emotional damage than Cowboys fans. And then Raiders fans, don't get me started. Although, I mean, I would probably become a Raiders fan because we air daily in Nevada. But again, I'm kind of settling in well with the hockey thing, with what we do. I'm cool covering the Golden Knights and doing what we do in America. There is another, this will be point 2B. The Cleveland Browns say safety Ronnie Hickman was treated for minor injuries and released after reports that he was jumped by 4 men in a hotel lobby. The Browns said the 24-year-old Hickman was at home resting with his family. The New York Police Department say there have been no arrests and an investigation continues. You know what I think when I see that? I think, when are the OTAs? It's a football thing. It's the off season. Guys are going to get in trouble. That's it. Can we get on the field? Or get in the too much time on their hands. Idle hands are the devil's workshop, as they say. Point 3, Major League Baseball spring training is on, and the first preseason games are this Friday. We talked about this an hour ago. We're going to talk about it again briefly, not as much time here. But Vladimir Guerrero Jr. believes the Toronto Blue Jays are, quote, very capable after their heartbreaking loss in the World Series last year. The first baseman saying in Dunedin, meeting with reporters, he believes this season will actually be more fun than last year. Guerrero signed a 14-year, $500 million U.S. contract extension with the Blue Jays on April 9th. When I was saying earlier that Tkachuk is the heartbeat of the Florida Panthers, which he is, even more so is Vladdy with the Blue Jays, to the degree that I won't even argue with anything that the guy says. We went over to Dunedin. If Brent's still watching, my friend from Wellington, Florida, was watching in hour one. We went over to Dunedin and watched that last Blue Jays game last year, and I just sit there and I watch things differently than what most people do. I've obviously been different than everybody my whole life, but also just I know what to look for. And Vladdy, if he says this year is going to be more fun than last, then I'll believe him, but I don't know how it could get more wild than taking a lead into the 9th inning of Game 7 of the World Series. But I just noticed how that whole team flows off Vladdy, the Blue Jays. It wasn't just one thing that all of his teammates were looking at him in the eyes, in and out of the dugout, jogging onto the field. They're all looking at him. John Schneider was looking at Vladdy almost for his approval on decisions. I'm like, this guy is the man. And if you remember a year ago, they were arguing over his contract. And remember, Vladdy said he wasn't going to show up. What did he say? He wasn't going to get his start the year if he didn't get his deal. But he did. Because the Blue Jays know, they saw it long before I did, that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is the Toronto Blue Jays. That's like saying, you know what? It's like saying this whole Draisaitl versus Tkachuk thing is like Vladdy versus Aaron Judge. Would you take that trade? Yankees slugger Aaron Judge said he felt frustrated watching top free agents sign elsewhere during much of the offseason, but likes New York's late additions. After Monday's first full squad workout, Judge admitted the slow offseason felt brutal. Judge added that his sore right elbow now feels at full strength. He sustained the flexor strain while making a throw at Rogers Center in late July. That's the hope. Is Aaron Judge a better player than Vladdy? You'd have to look at the numbers and ask somebody that knows baseball far better than me. But the Blue Jays wouldn't be trading Vladdy for Aaron Judge. They would not. Which, incidentally, the Yankees haven't won a World Series in Aaron Judge's time. We talk about that on this show quite a bit. But what I do know is this. We talked about the power rankings last week. Dodgers number 1, Blue Jays number 2, Yankees number 3, as they get set to open the preseason schedule on Friday. So that'll be fun to watch. And speaking of that, the New York Mets do come in at number 5 in the power rankings from Fox Sports. Mets owner Steve Cohen likes the vibe in their revamped clubhouse and says he'll never have a captain in charge of that scene. Cohen told reporters this week, as long as I'm owning the team, there will never be a team captain. The Mets said goodbye to popular slugger Pete Alonso, star closer Edwin Diaz, and 2 other Mets stalwarts before Christmas, but they added free agent Bo Bichette and traded for all-star pitcher Freddie Peralta. Maybe a little later, I will tell you the story of spring training last year when we went down to watch the Mets and the Astros. and I snuck. John Gibbons was coaching the Mets that day. I couldn't believe it because the Mets were playing a split squad. They had one team playing on the road somewhere, and the second team was being managed by John Gibbons. So I snuck down, I thought, right beside the Mets dugout, and I'm pulling out my phone to take some pictures of John Gibbons. I get, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just here to get a picture. They're like, no, you're not. I'm like, oh, why? The owner of the Mets is right here, Steve Cohen. Surrounded by security guys that were all in plain clothes, had no idea. It's a different world. It's not like sneaking down to the dugout of the Regina Red Sox and the Moose Jaw Miller Express. It's a different world. But I would say this, for a Mets team that's habitually in the top 3 in spending, but never in the World Series, maybe Steve Cohen would want to have a team captain. I don't know. Rich in Edmonton watching writes in. He says, I went to a Mets game back in the old Shea Stadium. Great baseball experience. That's the one thing about baseball. Outstanding bang for your buck. I'm not going to get into the debate about the speed of the game. That certainly helped with the rule changes and so forth. But if you have a chance to go. Oh, talking earlier about the controversy over it's become the number one. The controversy over the curling at the Olympics has become the number one story coming out of Italy, and not just in Canada. Like I said, talk radio hosts in America on Fox Sports talking about the curling, but it's not about the actual games. They're talking about Mark Kennedy being, for those that know, accused of touching the rock past the hog line with his index finger. You're not allowed to do that. Cameras have come out. Is the bad publicity good for the sport? Because otherwise they're not talking about it at all, is the point. Wayne is watching in Victoria. He writes in on the Western Dodge text line, 902-518-3033. He says, I think publicity is bad, and I don't like it. However, some people say bad news is better than no news. That's the rub. I've gone back and forth on this argument for years, and I sit here today. I can't give you an answer for that. Is bad publicity better than none at all? I'm not sure. Oh, and Wayne says, by the way, man, 8 years of this show has gone by so fast. It's hard to believe. I know you've been here since day one, so thank you, Wayne. All right, Vegas Golden Knights General Manager Kelly McCrimmon joins us next. We can't wait. Get your questions and comments in the YouTube chat or the text line, 902-518-3033. We're across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network, and, of course, across Canada and 33 U.S. states on Game Plus TV.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
It's the RP Show on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network across Nevada and Game Plus TV with your daily reminder. Sign up for the Rod Squad newsletter at rodpedersen.com. Click on newsletter. It's free and brought to you by Suds Full Service Car Wash. Visit them at sudsregina.com. Kelly McCrimmon joining us, the general manager of the Vegas Golden Knights. Kelly, thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it. And if I know you, this has not been a break. The Olympic break for the NHL has been anything but a break for you. How's it been?
It's been good, really. I did get back to my home in Brandon and a little bit of time at our cottage at Clear Lake, so I enjoyed that. I've been a fan of the Olympics, just watching, and yet you're exactly right. We have to kind of stay focused on the NHL trade deadline, which is going to come very quickly. It's only 5 games for our team when the Olympic break concludes, and I think 12 days. So a lot of things will start to happen in a hurry, I think, as soon as the Olympics end.
Well, I know how busy you are, so I appreciate this time. We won't keep you long, but I'll just tell you again, I really appreciate you finding the time for us. And I guess you mentioned thanks, Kelly. You mentioned being a fan. Can you really be a fan, you in your role? And overall, what have you thought of the hockey?
I feel I can be a fan because we've got players on, we're well represented. We've got 8 players in the Olympics. We've got Marner, Stone Theodore with Canada, Eichel, Hannafin with Team US, Rasmus Andersson with Sweden, Thomas Hertl with Czechia, and our goaltender Akira Schmid is with Switzerland. William Karlsson wasn't able to participate, would have made 9, and Jonas Ronberg, who was one of the original 6 skaters named by Denmark, was injured the week before the Olympics began, so could have had as many as 10. So you watch those kind of like a father almost, hoping that your guys do well. Obviously, I'm a Canadian, so Team Canada would be where my allegiances lie when we get right down to the bitter end. But I've enjoyed it. I think you expect or understand that the first week, with the way that the pools are, there might be some one-sided games. I don't think it's a shock Canada went 3-0 or that the U.S. went 3-0 as well, but the games were more competitive than maybe you expected. I think there's been a great appreciation for the skill. I know, I kind of am somewhat amused almost that people realizing how good Mark Stone is, and of course we've known that for a long time. I think Jack Eichel has really made a great impression in his games with the U.S. So yeah, you watch a little bit like a fan, and I'm more worried who's going to win between Vegas and LA on the 25th February than I am in tomorrow's quarterfinals. To be honest with you, that's just the nature of our jobs.
Well, I'll tell you this: if the gold medal comes down the way we think it is, I'll be cheering for the same team you are. But you also mentioned half your roster, but you also got a coach there in Bruce. What do you think that's like for him?
Asked me with the Canadian team. Apologize for overlooking that. You're right.
Yeah, well, no problem. But if Kelly, because I haven't been around you for a long time, I would assume then if you're that hockey fan, you're sitting there looking at the lines, going Jack Eichel between the Bash brothers, the Kachuk brothers. Like, that's just an insane line. Do you enjoy watching that? Like the chaos that comes with that?
Well, yeah, that's a great line. I love the Marner Crosby Stone line. That's really been a glue line for Team Canada. So I've enjoyed watching three tremendously high hockey IQ players together, and that's what the Olympics is. Why it's so nice for fans and for the players, right? We're the NHL players are in the Olympics because it mattered to the players. They wanted that to happen. So when you get the chance to see those players play together and just take their games to another level, and again, I should have made it crystal clear if it's not obvious. The games to play, the remaining games, that's the Olympics. That's what's going to be just fantastic here as we get into the final few days of the Olympics.
Well, sure. It's like the World Juniors in that way. I mean, our poll question today is what's the better tournament, the Four Nations face-off or the Olympics? I think you got to think about that for a sec, because in the Four Nations, every game was great. Every game was tight, right? But I'll say this, Kelly. I think I do the Panthers show here, and Doug McLean was on, and he goes, "Thank God I'm not a GM anymore. I would be so riddled with anxiety." And you know why? The injury. And you've been around this international game a long time. How do you approach that as a GM?
Well, it's a double-edged sword because you're proud. I go back to my time in junior hockey. I was always really proud of players that were selected to play in the World Junior. It's a feather in the cap for a player, but it's a feather in the cap for the organization as well. And, I said, tongue in cheek in our office, I'd rather have 8 players in the Olympics than 0. I think we've got some great high-end players, so we're proud that they get the opportunity. We felt it last year. Shea Theodore was injured early on in the Four Nations with an upper body injury. He missed 8 weeks. We saw Kevin Fiala earlier in the tournament, who's a really important player for LA. His regular season is going to be over with the surgery that he required over in Italy. So that's the risk, and I guess that's the reality when you take all of the emotions out of it. Why owners aren't as excited about the Olympics as players are, right? Because we've shut down the league for a long period of time now, right? In a time of year where fans love to watch hockey. I think bigger picture, the Olympics is great for the sport, right? And that's the benefit for me is that over the longer term, and even the Four Nations. And the difference with the Four Nations was, basically the Four Nations, it'd be like as if the Olympics were starting tomorrow, because you had those teams and you know who they are, and it's let's get after it. So the intensity was through the roof, from the opening shift of the Four Nations till the overtime goal that ended the Four Nations. So I think that's what we're going to see now as we get to the second half of the Olympics. And you made the comparison earlier. I made that comment yesterday that the World Junior there's that schedule before New Year's Day when you have the round robin, and then there's the schedule after New Year's Day when you get to your quarters, your semis, and your gold medal winners. That's where we are now with the Olympics. Week 2 looks a lot different than week 1.
Yeah, at least they're keeping it in the same place. I'll tell you what, when I was broadcasting the World Juniors in Edmonton, we'd had the round robin in Edmonton, and then we're going to Calgary for the playoffs, and everybody in Edmonton was so down because it's just getting good, and we're leaving Edmonton, and you've been there because you guys had the World Juniors, in your backyard. So, Kelly, I got to ask you this. I always swore if I had a chance to ask you this. Somewhere along the line, you said in an interview, you said, we're not doing anything different in the NHL than we did in the WHL, which kind of blew my mind a little bit, but I've never been in your chair. And that was early on in your time in Vegas. Do you still feel that way?
Well, I feel that my time in Brandon was, really important in terms of me being ready to work in the National Hockey League. The reason that I make the comparison, I should qualify it right off the top. the business piece is much different because of the salary
Mhm.
cap and the challenges that come with managing a salary cap. But the reason that I said it at the time, the Western Hockey League, or the CHL, I guess I would say, fairly, is a developed league. So you draft players at 14 in the Western League. They play 1 or 2 seasons before they join your team in the Western League, and then you develop those players. You have to develop those players. A schedule, for most of my time in Brandon was 72 games. So there's a real similarity to the scheduling of the National Hockey League. The rules of play are the same. The importance of players getting better on your team. I really feel strongly about that. And then I think, maybe the impetus for making the comment I did is I think how you build your rosters. I think the things that matter, building a team in the WHL, if you're going to try to be a championship team, your third line has to be, maybe something that makes a difference for you as the playoffs go on. Your third pair of defense, the depth throughout your lineup, great players, right? I know, this goes way back when you'd have been doing play-by-play for PA. We played Game 7 in Brandon. Winner was going to the Memorial Cup. And, as nervous as you are as an executive, I had tremendous peace of mind that we had Marty Murray and Wade Redden on our team who were great players. They were great juniors. So, again, in Vegas, we've got some of those similar types of players. When you look at the way that the Panthers, the team you watch most often, have been constructed, you see, some of those reasons you win in the NHL at the end are similar, in my opinion, to how you would build a team in Major Junior. And the difference in Major Junior as well, you can't just go and get a bunch of players in the offseason. You build a program, right? You build a program, you develop a culture. So I think those things are very comparable to what you do in the National Hockey League.
Thank you for the explanation. I've been waiting years to ask you about that. And I'll tell you something. I see Brian McCabe in the press box in Sunrise every game, and I get triggered. What trade deadline was that? 96?
Well, I omitted him. You're exactly right. He was another guy on that very good Brandon team.
Because we were right there with you at the end. Or
Yeah,
I thought we
sure.
were right there with you at the end. Maybe we were, maybe we weren't. But and he was a difference maker for the Brandon Wheat Kings in the short amount of time that he was there. I wanted to ask you this too. I was saying earlier, our number 2 region for viewership is Manitoba, which I can't figure out. They should hate me there, but they like the show. And you've won championships with 2 owners, Bill Foley, who you can talk about if you want. We all feel like we all know Bob because but Bob Cornell, plumber. I was doing a little reading. What a special guy, the former owner of the Wheat Kings, who you ended up purchasing from. What did you learn from? I'm assuming you learned a lot from Bill, but what have you learned from Bob back in the day? Bob Cornell.
Well, Bob Cornell, for me, for my family, has just been an unbelievable mentor, great friend. I think really appreciated how hard I worked because that was how Bob Cornell lived his life. So I think we had that in common. Just really saw a lot of things the same way. He was the sole owner early in my time in Brandon. When I was 32 years old, he sold me a third of the team. When I was 40, he sold me the rest of the team. So I became the sole owner, but was unbelievable to myself, my family, and I think we saw the game really similarly, and it's just a great lesson for managers. Your owner should never be surprised, right? And he would kind of swing by the office, sort of his day would start around 5:30 in the morning. He'd swing by our office, sometime mid-morning. We'd have a coffee, and make sure that he was up to date with what was going on within the team and everything else like that. But it's no different in any sport, any level. Your organization starts with ownership, and we have great ownership with Plummer because as you know from following the league as well as you have, the years before Plummer and I took over the team were some pretty lean years in Brandon. So from that standpoint, we rebuilt it together and had a tremendous run. I think I was 27 years there myself, and obviously the first 16 or 17 of those would have been with Plummer, and it wasn't that changed once he sold me the team. He's always remained a big part of our lives. I saw him not that long ago, in fact.
Well, I tell you, not many people would remember the Wheat Kings having leaned. I remember it, and but my dad worshipped him. I think that was right around the time Dad was working with you and Doug Sauter, and
and Bill.
So there's another synergy between NHL and WHL that I never thought of was ownership, to be honest with you. But and I also read that Bob was born and raised in Brandon, which I bet when you bought the team fully from him, that meant a lot to you, right? You wanted to. That meant a lot.
Yeah, it really did. I was and am incredibly proud of the Brandon Wheat Kings, and it was it was a way of life. It was our life. I always equated it in my own mind because I came from a farm family. It was like our farm, right? And that was the type of care and connection that you have to what you're doing. And I've been extremely lucky in the sport. I've been involved in hockey a long time, and I've had just some tremendous experiences. As I said, it's a way of life, and I consider myself very fortunate to have had the opportunities that I've had.
Well, certainly the banners and the roof prove that, and all the improvements and all the rest. But to the Golden Knights, Kelly, we only got about 5 minutes left here. In the second half for you, I mean, I know you're never satisfied. You look at the record, you see depends how you look. You're in first place, but I don't think that's enough for you, right? You're always going to be tinkering, always going to be adding.
Well, it's been a really different year, and it's my first experience with a National Hockey League team on an Olympic year, which I guess for probably most of the GMs in the NHL are similar, but it's so different because you've got, I always used to feel in junior hockey that those first 2 or 3 months of the season, you had some of your players that were worried about getting invited to the World Junior. So that sort of stole a little bit of the headspace from some of those players. Similarly with the Olympic team, the teams weren't named until the 1st of January. And as much as some of our players know they're going to be on those teams, I think for others, they, just felt like they were trying out the whole time. So you've got sort of that, other piece of it. The schedule for all teams, not our own only, but across the NHL, has been different than anything that we've ever experienced. And even coming out of the break, we played 25 games in 50 days. Everyone's the same. We're all similar that way. So I think that where it's shown up is I think that there's been, since Christmas, we had a 5-game losing streak, a 7-game winning streak, a 5-game losing streak, and right now we're on a 2-game winning streak. So the consistency hasn't been quite the same for a lot of teams, I think is sort of what you see. And what's exciting for me with the Olympics behind us is we'll all come back with a singular focus of trying to make the playoffs and win a Stanley Cup. So I think that's going to change things for some teams. I think it's going to be a positive thing. And when I say all of that, they got to get back healthy, and then they got to get through that stretch where they're probably exhausted physically and mentally, all of the things that you expect for your player coming back from an event like that. But I like the fact that we'll be down to sort of one common goal throughout the organization. And the year that we won the Stanley Cup in 2023, at that time it was the what they call the bye week, the All-Star game. So there's that 7 to 10 day break. I can't remember exactly how long it was, but we were leaking a little bit of oil going into the break, and then coming out of the break, we really took off. And I think that we finished maybe 22-4-1 or something like that. Coming out of that break, Edmonton did the very same. We had to win game 82 to finish first in the conference. But again, I think the schedule is so much of a grind for players. I think that it just provides some clarity now. When we get home from, everybody gets home from Italy, we get our guys are back skating today. We get a couple of practices. I'm really excited about the balance of the regular season. And obviously, to your point you made earlier, we want to win every night. We are in first. Probably Edmonton and ourselves have not been as good in January and early February as we would have liked, which as a result has seen our division really it's up for grabs for any one of probably 4 or 5 teams. So it's on us to hit the ground running coming out of the break, and we look forward to doing that.
Well, good luck with it. We only got about 30 seconds left. Minute. How would Russia have done? Mooner thinks they would have flamed out if they'd went in the Olympics, and Doug McLean thinks they'd have won it. In 30 seconds, what do you think Russia would have done?
Well, without jumping on the political stand, we'd be better with them in it because they're just so many fantastic players. And look no further than the state you live in. I think they'd have been right there with the top teams. That's my quick thought.
They'd have been in the medal round. Yeah, I think, no doubt about it.
For sure.
Awesome talking hockey with you, Kelly. I missed it. Thanks for this, and good luck with the rest of the year.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for having me, Rod.
The general manager of the Vegas Golden Knights, Kelly McCrimmon, joining us here on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV. We'll be coming right back with a viewer takeover segment and a sports update in a moment. 902-518-3033 is the number to reach us. 902-518-3033 for Western Dodge. And we'll be right back after this.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. RP Show continues. Well, it's already been a great day. I couldn't have gone better with Kelly McCrimmon. What do we do now? Doesn't get better than this. Wayne in BC writes in on the text line 902-518-3033 for Western Dodge. He says, what a great interview, Rod. Kelly is obviously a fantastic GM in both the WHL and NHL. No. He is. And we'll spend 20 minutes talking about what he said. I think we can reasonably do that. Because I don't even know where I was when I heard that interview with Kelly, and it was early in his time in Vegas, let's say 2018, 19, and he was like, we're not doing anything different in the NHL than we were doing in the WHL. And I'm like, I wonder what he means by that. If I ever get a chance, I'll ask him. This is I've been waiting 7 years, at least, to ask him that question. And the funny thing is, when he's like, take the business aside, take the money out of it. It sounds silly, but it's not, because I've had so many friends, and I can name you, like John Ryan, Matt Dominguez, guys that have played in the NFL and the CFL. And I've often said to them, what's the biggest difference between the NFL and CFL? Money. Yeah, but besides that, money. That's it. It's a very big difference. And he just explained why. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did. I appreciate it. Brent in Wellington, Florida writes, and he says, never forget the Pats versus Wheat Kings playoff brawl. Nothing better than WHL playoff rivalries. Mike is watching at Ice Time Sports in Winnipeg. He says, I can listen to Kelly tell stories all day. Brandon, hockey legend. Keep up the great work, Kelly. All the best from Winnipeg. They're still watching down there. And as you know, we're on in Nevada every day on the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network. BW from Edmonton writes in, says, great interview, RP. Looking forward to the next time you chat with Kelly. I don't know when that'll be. This was shooting a flare up. As my old news director, Greg Bonnet, would say, it's running up the flagpole and seeing who salutes. When we went to air in Nevada, which was end of September, Kelly was like the first guy I reached out to. And I'm like, hey, we're doing this show. Can you come on? He goes, yep. And I didn't even know when we were going to be able to do it. And the Olympic break hit. I'm like, I'm going to try. Kelly's a good guy, as you see. Man of his word, obviously. Vancouver Eric writes in. He says, NHL general manager. Big time guest, RP. Hey, don't get used to it. They happen to be friends more than anything. I've known Kelly since I was 15 years old. So that was a favor more than anything from Kelly. Laverne is watching in the Frontier City. And I got a good one for you, Laverne, in a sec, but I'll read his text here on the Western Dodge text line. 902-518-3033. Laverne says, wow, that's a great take on how a true professional general manager operates. He's a gem. Great interview. Great show. Thank you, Laverne. I was having lunch yesterday with my buddy Matt Dubuck, who might still be watching right now. I'm not sure. The head coach of the Chiefs. And I don't even know how it came up. And I brought up Swift Current, Saskatchewan, the Frontier City. He goes, Swift Current, that just sounds cold. And I'm like, they're all cold in the winter. None are more cold than others, although Winnipeg might be. But yeah, Swift Current, that just sounds cold. Maybe. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers is where we went. Nothing but the finest for us. I bought. Do we have time here to get into a sports update? I don't feel like we do. Colt from San Diego writes in and says, go, Ducks, go. We're not talking Ducks today. Maybe tomorrow. Oh, Tony's watching in Cochrane, Alberta. He says, trying to get up enough nerve to go out shoveling. Wind chill at -30 right now. Oh, my God. You know, it got down to freezing here the night of the Winter Classic, the Stadium Series game in Tampa. You should have seen the people. They got this thing. It's called the wind chill. It's the wind chill. They'd never heard of it before. It got to -5 Celsius with the wind chill. here in South Florida. You would have thought people were going to die. We'll do that sports update when we come back. It's the RP Show on the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon
and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. Okay, welcome back, everybody, for Overtime, brought to you by Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. How's it going, Calgary? I hear you're snowing and it's cold. I will remind you, it is February. That's what I was saying to my guy, Bob, the other day. I'm like, it's like every year people are surprised. It gets real cold and it snows. I will get to that sports update, I promise. Oh, Jeff the Stamps fan says, rest in peace to Hollywood heavyweight Robert Duvall. You know, when I saw yesterday that Robert Duvall passed away, to be honest, number one, I thought of Lonesome Dove. That was my favorite show with him in it. Everybody's talking about The Godfather. And then the movie Four Christmases, which was really good with Robert Duvall. He was awesome. But then I thought, okay, it's the first. It happens in threes. Who's next? Today, Jesse Jackson. So rest in peace to the civil rights leader as well. And then who's going to be the third? That's where my mind goes. Watch your back. Mike in Winnipeg. Raising Cane's. So good. Right. That's the end of the free advertising for them. But it was good. Eric in Vancouver says, what's next, RP? Gary Bettman? You want to know the funniest thing about that? His house is like 5 blocks away. If you ever came down, I was thinking about this the other day. I'm not opposed, to living in Vegas. If that ever happened, I would do it. It's a nice town. I like Vegas. It's exciting. But I really love it here. And we were talking about the hockey people live in the Boca region. If not specifically Boca, then towns around it. Okay? Doug McLean, Jeff Rimmer, Jeff Chikrin, Mario Lemieux. All in this area, right? And Bettman. And then all the baseball players, and I think I know why, the retired baseball players, they all live up in the West Palm Beach, Jupiter area. That's where all the ballparks are. That's where they are. And all the football players, the former Dolphins, and there's, some CFL alum and stuff, a lot of NFL alum, they're all down in the Miami area. For reasons that we won't get in here, and you never asked. But anyways, you see Gary Bettman here a lot, more than you'd think. But he has a house here. And I like Gary. The very easy thing for me giving this NHL coverage is I don't like to BS. Like, if I don't like you, you know that I don't like you. I got that trait from my dad. If I don't like you, you'll know. I like Gary Bettman. So it's not hard to wave the NHL flag and support what they do. Which reminds me, the poll question here is, what's the better hockey tournament, Four Nations Face-Off or the Olympics? And so many people were poo-pooing on the Four Nations Face-Off. And I wasn't. I didn't really know what it was going to be until like the day before. This is weird. It's thrown together 4 countries, but it ended up being great. It was awesome. And as far as what's the better tournament of the two, 78% are saying the Olympics, which is fine. I get it. But it's like choosing between pizza and ice cream. And as of this morning, stepping on the scale, I've been having too much of both. That's the breaking news. We got to can it with a pizza. We got to can it with a pizza and the ice cream for a while. Tony in Cochrane, Alberta says, so that's why Bettman put hockey teams in Florida. Turned out okay. I never thought it would. Well, a lot of people didn't. And that's a topic, that you all enjoy because you're watching this show, but probably a topic for another day or for our Cats and Bolts podcast. But the teams came here before Bettman did. Look it up. The teams were expansion teams here before Gary Bettman was even commissioner. So, but yeah, it's worked. But John Cooper, the head coach of Tampa Bay, at the outdoor game in Tampa, I was sitting from me to you away from him. He goes, 12 years ago, I would have never thought we'd have outdoor games. I would have never thought hockey would explode the way it has. So I've been very lucky to be in the right place at the right time over the course of a career. 70% of respondents saying Olympics are the better hockey team than the Four Nations Face-Off. A-Dub writes us on Twitter and says, whichever tournament brings the Russians back first. Nothing like beating the U.S., but nothing like beating the Russians. Well, it really does suck. And that's also funny that that's the other thing with Kelly. He has not changed. I know I haven't, but I've grown up a lot, and I think we're all happy for that as far as our old rivalry days go. But for him to say, yeah, I can be a fan. I didn't know if he could, but he hasn't changed. The old Kelly I knew would be a fan. He's still a fan. Yeah, it's fun to watch Jack Eichel between the Tkachuk brothers and the chaos that ensues. But for Kelly to go, politics aside, it would be better to have Russia there. Knowing full well it's a sticky issue, I thought he handled that very well. We all want Russia there. And for those that say, Nikita Kucherov being one, that this tournament isn't as good, or there should be an asterisk beside whoever wins. Yeah, but it's not. So we can live in the fantasy world that we want or live in the world that we're in. And I apologize to the person that wrote in, and it just dawned on me. They asked me to ask Kelly, would you go back to this as your home jersey rather than the golds? The funny thing is, he probably has the stroke to do that. So the next time Kelly's on, I forgot. It slipped my mind. It was just a lot of fun catching up with a guy that I've interviewed a lot of times over the years. A lot of times. Going back to probably 1992. Anyways, tomorrow will be fun. It's playoff day for Canada and the USA. I don't even know what it is. Quarterfinals, semifinals, I don't even know. We'll be watching. Just trying to get through the day. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Kelly. Thanks, Scruffy, producer Corey, and the rest of you. We'll see you tomorrow here on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV.
That.